Alright, you guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a very important exercise, which is taking Hollywood films, grabbing the still, putting them up against your footage, and trying to figure out how they got this look. This is very important because it helps you build your eyes using scopes, build your eyes in saturation. It helps you get better at luminosities. It helps you get better at contrast. Everything that you ever wanted to learn about color grading is hidden in these stills that was graded by professionals. Now, there's nothing wrong with not using reference still, just going off of how you feel and your vibe. But I always recommend that you practice and reference Hollywood films. This is a still from The Witch. I love the desaturated look. I love the muted tones. I love the low contrast. It's all a really nice mood. The two most important tools, in my opinion, to get the look of any film are the RGB scopes, which gives you the luminosity information and the color information, and the vector scope, which gives you skin tone information and saturation information. We're going to click on our reference wipe. We're going to right click and we're going to grab the still. The still should be located in our gallery section. Now let's go to our footage, and if you take a look at the footage, this footage is still in log, which means there's no colors, there's no saturation, there's nothing. What the camera sees is what we're looking at. We want to convert this footage to Rec 709. So let's click on the gear wheel at the bottom. Let's go to color management. And let's change our color signs to Davinci Resolve Color Managed. Everything else stays the same, and let's click Save. Now, as we go through the footage, Davinci Resolve has converted this footage to Rec 709, which gets us halfway there. I'm going to create 3 nodes. I'm going to name the first one Exposure. We're going to name the second one Saturation. And we're going to name the third one LUT. Now this is where I'm going to put my free Kodak 5279 LUT, which you can get on my website right now. We're going to right click, we're going to go to LUT, and we're going to select our Kodak 5279 LUT. Let's click on our reference. Let's click on our image wipe button, and you'll see that Davinci Resolve gives us a split screen to where we can reference both of these shots. I'm going to pull up my RGB parade. If we look at this scope, we can see our footage information on the left side and the reference information on the right side. The key to matching these looks is to take our information on the scopes and match it to the reference information. That's the simplest way that I can put it. Let's go back to the exposure node, and we're gonna, while looking at our scopes, we're gonna bring down the offset to match the exposure of our reference. And that looks pretty good. Let's look at our shadows, see where our shadows are sitting, and it looks to be a little bit low, so we're going to grab our lift, and we're just going to bring our lift up. We've just matched the luminosity, but this footage still looks very different from The Witch's footage. Let's go to our second node, and let's deal with the colors. How the vector scope works is it gives you the levels of color in a shot. So if I grab my reds and I bring my reds up, you'll see the information going towards red. If I drag it down, you'll see the information going towards cyan. Now if we full screen this reference still, you'll see that the reference still information is pretty close to 0. If we full screen our shot, you'll see that we're pretty extended. So what we want to do is we want to match our information to the witch's information, which is a bit lower. So let's go back to half screen. Let's go to our saturation and bring our saturation down. And as you can see, when we bring our saturation down, the information gets smaller. Let's go to our temperature and see what happens. So if I bring my temperature warmer, it goes up. If I bring it cooler, it goes down. So let's just find the happy medium. So right about there. Let's go to our tint slider and see what happens. If I bring it to the left, it goes to the left. If I bring it to the right, it goes to the right. Let's match this bad boy right on the top. And now, when we zoom in, on, off, we're pretty close. On, off. Let's close our vector scope. Let's go back to the RGB parade. Let's turn off our reference wipe. And I would say that's pretty close to the look that we're going for. So we're gonna grab this still. We're gonna go back to our first shot. We're gonna add a node. We're gonna right click on our still. We're gonna append node graph. And obviously from shot to shot, you're gonna have to do a little bit of adjustments, but this is the easy part. We're gonna click on our reference wipe again. And we're gonna put it up against our shot. And we'll do the same thing. We're gonna go to exposure. And if I look at my RGB scopes, I can tell that the shadows are being crushed. So let's just pull that up a bit. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Let's see what our highlights give us. And that looks pretty cool there. And let's just see what our offset gives us. That looks pretty cool right there. Saturation, colors, we can check that as well. Let's go to our vector scope. Looks like we can nudge it just a little bit to the left. Yeah, that looks cool. Let's turn off our reference wipe. Let's go full screen and let's just play that. And I would say this is the look of the witch. Let's just right click, grab a still. Let's go to our second shot and let's add a node. Let's right click, append node graph. Let's click on our reference wipe. Let's check our levels again. Go back to the parade. All right, so it looks like we're crushing the shadows a little bit. So we're gonna go to our shadows and we'll just bring that up a bit. Something like that. Highlights look good. Bring up our, turn off our reference wipe and just play it. Go to our third shot, add a node, right click, append node graph, and I think that's looking pretty good. We don't have to, I don't think we have to reference again. No, let's go to our fourth shot, add a node. I'll probably grab a still from this shot and let's pull up our reference shot and just match these. So as you look at the RGB parade, you can see that our shot's pretty elevated. So let's try to match this again. Make sure we're in our exposure node. Let's bring down our offset. Let's bring down our shadows. highlights. Let's add a little bit of contrast and bring up our shadows a little bit right there. Yep, that's looking pretty good. Now we'll go to this shot, we'll add a node, and we'll just use this hero shot right here. Right click, append node graph. And yeah, I mean, we can, of course, reference it again, make sure that we're pretty close to the ballpark. And it's actually telling me that the shadows are being clipped again. So let's just pull those shadows up. Maybe pull up the offset and then just bring down the highlights. Turn off our reference wipe. Yeah. And then we have our last shot. So let's just play it from the top, see what we got. I think we did pretty good. Basically, all you really need is a reference still of any movie that you love and any movie that you want to mimic. If the lighting is right, if the wardrobe is right, if the props is right, you can get pretty close. This grade was made possible by my Kodak 5279 LUT. Again, it's free for Rec 709 footage. If this video helped you out in any way, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and talk to you guys soon.